WFYI podcasts are made possible by Bloomington, Indiana, an American college town offering experiences like indulging in grub at Nick's English Hut, taking a stroll along Kirkwood Avenue, feeling the history and magic of Assembly Hall, and providing the chance to feel like a college kid again. Plan your trip at visitbloomington.com.
This is WFYI News Now. It's July 3rd, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, for the first time, a quarterly report on suspected overdose deaths in Marion County. The four candidates Indiana Democrats will choose from for the party's lieutenant governor nomination. Walruses return to the Indianapolis Zoo. And the new leader of Hamilton Southeastern Schools is already making changes.
If we've employed people who do not want to serve students and put their own agenda in front of a mission to educate students, then those people should leave our district because we're here to serve students.
Those stories coming up. But first, authorities say Indiana Republican U.S. Representative Victoria Spartz has been charged with bringing a firearm through airport security. Airport officials said Monday she was charged with a Class 1 misdemeanor. Spartz's office says she was traveling to Europe and mistakenly carried an unloaded handgun in the pocket of her suitcase while going through security at Washington Dulles International Airport. Spartz is a staunch Second Amendment Republican representing Central Indiana. She won her primary in May after saying last year she would retire from Congress. The charge carries up to a year in jail and a $2,500 fine if convicted. Marion County officials are for the first time working together to release a quarterly report on suspected overdose deaths. As WFYI's Ben Thorpe reports, officials hope that giving the public and health officials access to more recent data will improve health outcomes.
The Marion County Coroner's Office usually releases an annual report outlining the number of suspected overdose deaths. That's changing. The office and the health department plan to release a report once every 3 months, thanks to a grant from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Andrea Bohenick is an epidemiology manager at the Marion County Health Department. She says in the past, data might be over a year old.
We're hoping that if we present the community and community organizations and public organizations with the information quickly, that they'll be able to act more quickly in preventing these deaths.
The move comes as the Marion County Prosecutor's Office has announced its plan to target fentanyl dealers linked to overdose deaths. The first report released this month shows a nearly 30% decrease in overdose deaths compared with the same period in 2023. I'm Ben Thorpe.
Indiana Democrats have four candidates to choose from for the party's lieutenant governor nomination later this month. As Indiana Public Broadcasting's Brandon Smith reports, state party convention delegates will gather in Indianapolis July 13th to choose the nominee.
Former state lawmaker Terry Gooden is gubernatorial candidate Jennifer McCormick's preference for running mate. He's largely expected to win the nomination, despite concerns from many Democrats over Gooden's conservative history, including votes against gay marriage and abortion access. But he will have opponents. Cliff Marsiglio, who ran for Indianapolis mayor last year, and Bob Kern, a perennial candidate for a variety of offices, both filed to run at the convention before Gooden was announced. Tammy Dixon Tatum, who tried to run for governor but failed to make it onto the ballot this year, also added her name to the list before Monday's filing deadline. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Brandon Smith at the State House.
The Walruses are back at the Indianapolis Zoo. From WFYI's digital desk, Zach Bundy has more.
On a nice sunny July 1st, the Indianapolis Zoo was packed with people. It was the day Ginger and Aku returned to Indy, two Pacific walruses who had spent the last 18 months at SeaWorld Orlando while renovations were being done to their exhibit. Stacy Green, general curator at the zoo, says the upgrades were significant.
Well, basically, we redid the entire exhibit, all the structural. We have created a little bit more space on the island area for them to lay down, and they are just going to love interacting with the visitors.
The Indianapolis Zoo is one of only 4 facilities in the U.S. to house walruses, according to Green.
I'm just really happy that they're back. They are ambassadors to their species, and I think people get more engaged about conservation because we have these wonderful animals.
I'm Zach Bundy.
And for our final story today, the new leader of Hamilton Southeastern Schools is already making changes in the district. From WFYI's Education Desk, Rachel Fredette reports that some of those decisions have already drawn criticism from teachers.
Pat Mapes shared this message with a packed room during a recent school board meeting.
If we've employed people who do not want to serve students and put their own agenda in front of a mission to educate students, then those people should leave our district because we're here to serve students.
Mapes said he won't slow down as he puts his plans for the district in place. But tensions between Mapes and the educators he leads are high after the district's teachers union filed an unfair labor practice complaint last month. Abby Taylor is the president of HSE's teachers union. She's mentioned in the complaint.
You can hit the ground running, but if you don't have teachers aware of the changes or a part of that decision-making process, it makes it harder.
The ULP complaint remains an open case. A pre-hearing is scheduled for later this month. I'm Rachel Fredette.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Drew Daudelin with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.
WFYI podcasts are made possible by Bloomington, Indiana, an American college town offering experiences like indulging in grub at Nick's English Hut, taking a stroll along Kirkwood Avenue, feeling the history and magic of Assembly Hall, and providing the chance to feel like a college kid again. Plan your trip at visitbloomington.com.